Here's everything you need to know about Diddy's new lawsuits, the 10 new lawsuits that have recently been filed. And I will tell y'all, it has actually been more than 10 new lawsuits, but we're specifically focusing on the 10 new lawsuits filed by the Buzbee Law firm. Yes, that lawyer that came out and said that he has 120 lawsuits lined up ready to go against Diddy and giving other celebrities an opportunity to basically say, hey, leave me out of this. Here's some money. Yeah, that guy. He has already filed 10 lawsuits in the last 3 weeks. And I have to tell you, these lawsuits are absolutely insane. They range from a long time. We're talking about the 1990s into the 2020s. We're talking about men. We're talking about women. We're talking about victims as young as 13 years old. And while we know that Diddy has his criminal charges going, there are people still constantly filing lawsuits to have their voices heard and hopefully to get more people to speak out and to see if they can get some compensation for the harm that they are claiming that Diddy did. Now, we do have to give a disclaimer that these are all allegations and have not been proven to be true. But I mean, with so many people coming out with the same kind of stories about Diddy, it's kind of hard to believe that these stories are not true. Throughout this live stream, you will notice that all of the victims are actually going by anonymous names. We got John Does for the men and Jane Does for the women, and we'll get into the reasoning why they're doing that a little bit later on. If you guys are new here, I am Boss Attorney Bree, and on this channel, we cover everything law and make it easy for everyone to understand. If you're watching on the replay, we do have timestamps down below, so make sure you check those out if you want to jump around in the video. Welcome to everyone watching live. We will be checking out the live chat at the end of the live stream. So make sure you guys are commenting throughout to let us know your thoughts on these cases and the insane nature and which ones you think are the craziest as we go through it. Like I said at the beginning of this live stream, literally no one is safe. And when I say no one is safe, I really mean that. Let's have Bossy B bring us into the first victim of the live stream. Like I said, y'all, Diddy, no one is safe from Diddy. Absolutely no one is safe, including the security guard. The first victim we are going to be addressing in these new lawsuits filed by the Buzbee Law firm is a security guard that was actually working one of Diddy's white parties, someone who Diddy actually hired, maybe not directly, but he hired the company. So they start off by describing the facts that Sean Combs' infamous white parties are legendary events known for the exclusivity, extravagance, strict dress code, where attendees were required to wear all white. Actually, let me go ahead and change the screen, share the screen. The attendees are required to wear all white. These high-profile parties, particularly those held at Combs' estate in the Hamptons, attracted A-list celebrities from across the entertainment, fashion, and business worlds. The events were lavishly decorated, featured live music performance, and boasted top-tier food and beverages. The atmosphere at these parties was one of opulence and luxury, often making headlines for their celebrity guest list, over-the-top entertainment, and the stunning aesthetic of the event. So they make this sound like something that you really want to go to and be a part of and enjoy. It sounds like luxury, right? Many unsuspecting individuals were recruited to attend these parties. Some of these recruitments took place in Manhattan. Many individuals were also recruited in Los Angeles and were paid to fly in and to attend these functions. In 2006, like I said, these cases range from the 1990s all the way into the 2020s. We are starting in 2006. The plaintiff, John Doe, was employed by a security firm, Mass Security, where he provided security services for nightclubs and private events. In August of that year, plaintiff accepted a last-minute job at Combs' East Hampton property, which he believed was hosting an exclusive white party for a large, affluent crowd. Plaintiff noted that the guests arrived in luxury vehicles and many appeared to be executives. Upon plaintiff's arrival, he was greeted by Combs, the event's host, who expressed interest in meeting all staff members. Now, you would think since Diddy is so busy, he is not going to have time to be frolicking around and talking to the security guards of the actual party. You think that he would be mingling with the people that he invited to join the party and enjoy the party. This one is insane. I'm probably coming in hot starting with this one because this one I would say was one of the more shocking ones that I came across, but I don't even know where to go with it. Let me just finish what this guy had to say with his experience with Diddy. He's a security guard working the all-white party. During the interaction, Combs offered plaintiff another job opportunity working security, where plaintiff ultimately declined due to his father's severe illness and the challenges of relocating. Combs appeared to be sympathetic to plaintiff's situation and understanding of his decision. As the event progressed, Combs targeted plaintiff and provided him with 2 alcoholic drinks throughout the night. Now, I have to remind y'all, this is a security that is supposed to be working and supposed to be protecting the people at the party. Yet he's being offered drinks by Diddy. And we all know what goes on, or what we all can kind of assume based on what everyone has been accusing him of, what goes on with those drinks. Those drinks allegedly are not safe to drink, but this unsuspecting security guard did not know this. After consuming the second drink, plaintiff began to feel extremely ill and leaned against his truck for support. Based on information and belief, Combs by himself and through his agents' employees previously laced the drinks with drugs, including but not limited to GHB and or ecstasy. And y'all are going to see this throughout the 10 cases that we're going to be covering today. They are convinced that these drinks had GHB and or ecstasy or some other kind of drug in them. I don't know how they're coming to that conclusion because, like, did y'all test the drink? How would you know that's the exact drug that's in there? And I'll be honest with y'all as we go through this, none of the cases actually explain why they think it's GHB or anything in the drinks. And like I said, some of these cases are old. We're talking 2006. How do we know he was using the same motives and the same drugs in 2006 as maybe he was allegedly using in 2022? I don't know how they came up with that. Thought it was an interesting point. Let me know what y'all think about it. This behavior towards plaintiffs mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents and employees drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to SA that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one of such victims. A photograph of the exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents' employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks is shown below. You will also see this throughout the other complaints that we're going to cover. They show this little drug container multiple times throughout the 10 lawsuits that have been filed so far. What we will also notice is that it's the same containers, the same pictures being used over and over again for all of the victims, but all of these things happen over a span of 30 years. All of the lawsuits that were filed were over a span of 30 years. So how are we using the same picture for each individual plaintiff, right? Other thing is, was he using these tubes at the time that they're claiming this thing happened? Like, sure, maybe he was putting drugs in people's drink back then, but how do we know it was this particular container? But they are careful not to say this is the exact container that they used to spike my drink. They're just saying this is an example of the containers that they would use to spike people's drink. Don't know if this was the same one from 2006, but I think it's odd that they're using the same pictures throughout multiple of the lawsuits. Combs approached him again, inquiring about his well-being and displaying what plaintiff initially interpreted as concern. However, he soon found himself being forcibly pushed into an open van by Combs, an act that left him in considerable pain. Now, I must remind you who we're talking about here. We are talking about the security guards who are supposed to be there to protect the people at the party. And this security guard is getting pushed into a van by Freaky Deaky Combs, okay? Allegedly, that's who he is at this point. He got criminal charges. He got a lot of lawsuits against him. So do we believe him? Do we believe that he is this person? Probably. But can we say it for sure yet? No, not yet. But he's bullying the security guards. He's bullying the security guards, pushing them into the van. Okay, so now the security guard has been pushed into the van by Diddy, and he is in considerable pain. Once inside the van, plaintiff was held down by Combs, and y'all, this is a trigger warning, who overpowered him when he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs on his system. In a horrific turn of events, Combs essayed plaintiff by inserting his male parts into plaintiff's behind parts, then sodomizing him, all the while dismissing plaintiff's pleas for help by repeatedly saying, "You'll be all right." So this guy is in pain, and Diddy's just like, "You'll be okay. Well, it'll be over in a minute," literally. After the assault, Combs left plaintiff in the van and proceeded back to the party. And you guys are going to see this as like an MO. He does this and just goes back to the party like nothing happens. Plaintiff struggled to leave the party due to the drugs he believed to be in his systems from the alcoholic drinks Combs provided him. As plaintiff was leaving the party, he experienced a disturbing sensation as a lubricant-like fluid leaked from him, which he believed to be semen, causing him profound disgust, which, yeah, that is icky. When plaintiff finally managed to leave the scene and return home, he informed his supervisor of the incident, so he told on him. Upon arriving home and showering, plaintiff noticed more semen discharge. That's gross. Which intensified his feeling of violation and revulsion. In the aftermath of the assault, plaintiff struggled with intense emotional pain and mental health issues, feeling disgusted and deeply depressed. Plaintiff has experienced a significant impact on his personal life. He has never married and often struggles to maintain relationships due to the assault. Plaintiff describes himself as an all-American guy, yet acknowledges that not a day goes by without a thought of the traumatic incident. He is suing for the violation of the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. He believes that Diddy did this to him because he was a male, and basically he was trying to assert his dominance over him. That is the only cause of action that he sues under, likely because this happened in 2006 and any other statute of limitations would have already passed for personal injury, being that this was almost 20 years ago. And he's just now bringing the case. And if you guys don't know, New York kind of extended this long arm statute to cover, I'm calling it a long arm statute, but that's not what it's called, where people can sue for acts that happen against them, stretching pretty far back. I don't know the exact rules on it right now, but it allows you to bring these claims even if they happened a really long time ago and you're a victim ready to come out with your story. So John Doe, first victim, the security guard, it started off intense. I'm sorry for kind of throwing y'all to the wolves and starting off with that intense of a story, but this just goes to show how egregious the conduct is that people are accusing Diddy of. And that's story number one. We have 9 more to go of these Buzbee lawsuits. And according to Buzbee, he got 110 plus more of those, or maybe even more. We'll talk about it in his anonymous letter, or the reason why he wants his plaintiffs to be anonymous. Let's go ahead and jump into the next story. Now, a lot of people know Diddy as the guy that kind of makes stars. He's putting on music videos. He's making the band, right? He had that whole show. And so it's not surprising to find out that he often might have been on college campuses recruiting people to come to his parties, recruiting people to be a part of the scene. And that's what happens to the next girl in the story. We're going to be talking about a 19-year-old college student that just happened to go to one of Diddy's promotional parties with a friend and unsuspectedly got assaulted by Diddy. And I mean, this is the live stream that we're covering. We're covering the 10 lawsuits that have recently been filed against Diddy by the Buzbee Law firm. So let's jump right into her story. And let me stop here. Y'all will notice that I'm not going into like the first part of the complaint and what the opening was, because literally all of the openings for all of these 10 complaints are copied and pasted, because they're the same defendants most of the time. They're the same allegations. They go through all the lawsuits that have already been filed against Diddy. So we're not going to cover that today. We're going to actually get into the facts of what these people are claiming that Diddy did to them. And y'all, like I said, these are complaints, and that's why I'm saying they're claiming this, because we can't say that they are true yet until proven true or false through the court system. And even then, we don't really know, right? Whatever the jury decides is true is what we have to believe is true, and the evidence should support that it is true. So, anyways, let's jump into the 19-year-old model that was just looking to basically explore and have a good time. So, factual allegations for her: Combs and his staff regularly invited members of the public to events such as music video shoots, photo shoots, autograph signings in or around New York City. One such event took place in 2004 across the street from Jane Doe's college campus in Brooklyn, New York. Through Miss Doe's friends and Combs' accomplices and agents, Miss Doe received an invitation to Combs' photo shoot. She was 19 years old at the time. She was flattered and excited to receive such an invite from an individual of Combs' celebrity stature. Miss Doe accompanied her friends to the event and discovered that it was a photo shoot promoting the band, a recording group Combs signed to his record label, Bad Boy Entertainment. At the photo shoot, she and one of her good friends, another freshman living in the dormitory with Miss Doe, was eventually invited to an after party by Combs' business associates. After leaving for the party, Miss Doe had met Combs at the photo shoot. Combs told Miss Doe and her friend that they should come to his hotel first for a more exclusive party. Ms. Doe and her friend agreed and were taken to a Manhattan area Marriott hotel by a member of Combs' entourage. Upon arriving at the hotel suite, Ms. Doe noticed that there were a dozen people. There having drinks and listening to music in a relaxed party environment. While attempting to mingle around the party, Ms. Doe and her friends were suddenly grabbed and taken to a separate room off from the main party. Ms. Doe believed that the man taking them to be a security guard. We heard what happened to the last security guard, Craig. I don't know if we can trust them, not necessarily saying that other security guard was to blame, but Diddy has control over the security guards is where I'm trying to go with that. She went with him, but when she asked him where they were going, he simply told her, "You know what you are here for." So did she know what she was there for? The security guard is saying she knew what she was there for. After taking Miss Doe and her friend to the bedroom, the security guard left the room and locked the door. The only person in the room beside Miss Doe and her friend was Combs. So now they are in a room with Combs, which probably is pretty exciting for these 19-year-old college girls. They went to a promotional party, ended up meeting Diddy, who's a celebrity, and now all of a sudden they're in a room with just Combs. Did they intend to be in that room with just Combs? Maybe not. But also, are they afraid? Probably not, because they probably don't know where this is about to take them. So Combs gave Miss Doe and her friend more drinks and then instructed them to imbibe cocaine that he had prepared. Imbibe, I think I said that right. Cocaine that he had prepared for use on the coffee table. Miss Doe did not want to do cocaine. Combs continued getting gradually more aggressive with the two women and eventually began forcibly touching them without consent. When they resisted, Combs ordered Miss Doe's friend to perform oral sex on him, or else he would have them both killed. That is a big escalation. Miss Doe's friend complied as Miss Doe begged Combs to allow them to leave. He did not agree. Obviously, he did not agree. He was in the middle of something. One thing that I notice about these complaints are that they escalate so quickly. Like, there's no in between. It's like we are in a room with Diddy, and then all of a sudden we're doing drugs, and then all of a sudden we're naked. It's like no escalation. It's no, oh, he became increasingly hostile or anything of that nature. It's just, we were there. He was just like, get naked. And now here I am being assaulted. And I really wonder if that's how all of this was going down. I really would like to know if that's how all of it was going down, or is this just kind of a shorter, condensed version of the story for the purposes of making the complaint short and concise. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Let's get back into it. Combs soon turned his sights on Miss Doe and forced her to take off her clothes, again under the threat of violence. Once she was undressed, Combs forced himself on her and began to SA her. Combs fondled, molested, and ultimately R-worded Miss Doe, all while she was begging him to stop. Soon, and likely due to Miss Doe's cries, the door opened and the security guard from earlier came in and asked if everything was all right. I'm surprised Diddy let the security guard get away with that, because either that guy was new on the job or he wasn't really down with what Diddy was doing and maybe was fired pretty shortly thereafter, because it's almost shocking to me that he would interrupt this if he was one of the people, which a lot of people are accused of, knowing that Diddy does this on the regular. So they're not really trying to save people that are in distress. So I would have to say good job to this security guard. Bad job for luring them in there, but good job for attempting to stop it by interrupting. Miss Doe's friend took the opportunity to run out of the recently locked door. Miss Doe, however, could not move as Mr. Combs was still on top of her. Combs got off of Miss Doe to talk to the security guard. He left the room but told Miss Doe to stay, otherwise she would be killed. But after about a half an hour of sitting in a dark room by herself, another security guard came and told her that she could leave. Miss Doe gathered her things and left immediately and called a taxi back to her dormitory to downtown Brooklyn. She is also suing for a violations of the Gender Motivated Violence Act. Again, this happened in 2004, so it's probably the only cause of action that she can sue under because the incident happened so long ago, 20 years ago at this point. So let me know what y'all think. I would have to say these stories, I probably started off too intense because there are some that are not as intense, and I probably started off way too intense. They're intense, they're aggressive, they escalate quickly. Let me know what y'all think about the quick escalation. Also, let me know if y'all think that these are accurate. Do you think there's a reason behind why all of these people are filing with this law firm under an anonymous name? Does that make their stories less believable? I don't think it does. I think the stories have enough detail in them to whereas I would still believe them, although we don't know the identity of the people. Let me know what y'all think regarding that. And so we jump over to the next victim of the live stream for Diddy. So let's have Bossy B bring us in for that. Now, Diddy is a music mongol, right? Everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people probably wanted to be in his proximity in order to advance their career. And on this particular case, this was an unsuspecting musical artist wanting to advance her career and going to, well, we will have to know is another Diddy party. So we are talking about Jane Doe on or around December 2022. So this is a more recent case, 2 years ago, right? We're coming right up on 2 years for this one. Plaintiff, a 29-year-old independent artist who wrote, sang, rapped, and produced music, was invited to a party in New York City hosted by Combs because, of course, it would be hosted by him. Plaintiff was invited along with several of her friends, also independent musicians. Upon arrival, plaintiff observed a large white elegant residence which stood apart from other homes in the area and was accessed by a long curved driveway. The house was adorned with lavish decor, featuring a grand entryway and a spacious room and a large glass table. Once inside, servers offered platters of food, drinks, creating a luxurious upscale atmosphere. Plaintiff quickly recognized various celebrities from the music industry and television, including Combs himself. As plaintiff mingled with other guests, she noticed the widespread use of drugs, including cocaine, pills, and marijuana. Those employed and working in conspiracy with Combs, that's a strong word, conspiracy, with Combs pressured all guests to consume drugs that were being provided and served by the house staff. Plaintiff declined the repeated offers. So at least this artist was able to decline the drugs, right? I can't remember if she gets offered a drink, but let's go on to see. That evening, plaintiff, there we go. Plaintiff drank a single glass of wine, consuming no other substances. So she knows she only had one glass of wine. So you shouldn't be drunk. Most people would not be drunk off of one glass of wine. Though at some point during the event, plaintiff was approached by and engaged in a conversation with Combs about her music career. Combs expressed interest in her work, stating his desire to help elevate her career by featuring her on a track. Combs advanced the interaction by inviting plaintiff to his office, suggesting they discuss the advancement of her career in private. After arriving in the office, plaintiff began feeling disoriented as if she were slipping in and out of consciousness. It became clear to her that at this time she had been drugged by Combs. A photograph of the actual exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents, employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks as seen below. And so now we see a new picture. We talked about them having the picture of these containers for the drugging the drinks. Again, we don't know if these were the exact ones used on these particular plaintiffs. Was the wine already laced with it? Was the drinks already laced with it? But we are going to see this picture again. They're saying this is an example of the containers that they would use to spike drinks. Now, my question would also be, if and when this goes to trial, is there someone that is going to come forward and testify to the fact that this is what they used to use to spike drinks? My assumption was, based on the other stories that we have read, and even some of these stories here, is that the drinks will already be spiked. It would be kind of suspicious to have this little container walking around and pouring it in people's drinks at your own party versus the full bottle of liquor already being spiked. That is a bit strange to me, but I would love to see how the evidence comes out in trial or deposition or however far this case goes. Due to the effects of her drug drink, plaintiff are worded in SA plaintiff could not stop him from doing so, as she was trapped inside her body, not participating but not able to resist. The next thing plaintiff clearly remembers is waking up around 6 a.m. confused and disoriented in the same office where the assault took place. After checking herself, plaintiff discovered blood on her legs and her lady parts area and bruising on her lips. She also found deep imprints on her arms and wrists, suggesting that she had been tied with ropes. Additionally, she felt significant pain and soreness in her lady parts region. Overwhelmed with fear and panic, plaintiff frantically searched for her belongings, including her phone and clothes, but could not find them. Instead, she discovered a pair of pants, a shirt, and slides, which she quickly put on before trying to escape. Plaintiff eventually left the residence. As a result of the incident, plaintiff has suffered significant emotional distress, trauma, and she continues to deal with psychological and emotional consequences of the assault. She is suing under the Victims of Gender Motivated the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. And I believe that is the only thing that she's suing under, which I'm surprised by that, because she could have also probably sued under SA and S harassment, but she decided not to. So this lady is just trying to be in the industry, go to a party, maybe meet some connections so that she can advance her career. Diddy lies to her and tell her that he can advance her career, only to do what he did to her. It's devastating. I'm realizing I probably started off way too strong in this live stream with these cases, but I do want to know y'all's thoughts on where this is going. And we are getting back into no one being safe. So let's have Bossy B bring. Y'all remember the first story we covered, which was the security guard, and I said no one was safe. And at the beginning of the live stream, I let y'all know we are talking about men, we are talking about women, we're talking about boys, and we're talking about girls. We're going back to the men. And not only are we going to men, and not to say that regular men are more likely to be assaulted or anything of that nature, but Diddy is going in on who we normally would perceive to be the stronger and more masculine of men, because now we're going to talk about how he assaulted a personal trainer. So we started off with him assaulting a male security guard, and now we're going on to the story of him assaulting a male personal trainer. He's a personal trainer for celebrities. So I wonder if he's one of the popular ones, like on Instagram, and maybe we would recognize him if we were to see him. Plaintiff is a dedicated personal trainer, worked with celebrities and other notable individuals concerning their health and fitness. In or around 2022, so this is a more recent case, a fashion designer whom plaintiff trained told him she shared video showcasing plaintiff's distinctive workouts and exercises with defendant Combs. So someone trying to get him some clientele, showing his video to P. Diddy. Now he knows that is not a flex and not something he probably wants done in the future. The fashion designer eventually extended an invitation to plaintiff for him to attend an exclusive award show after party in Los Angeles hosted by Combs. The invitation stated a private car would pick plaintiff up from his residence and escort him to the party. And we've heard about this in other cases where he's having people pick them up from or where he's having his employees pick people up from their residences. So now he knows their freaking address. As promised, on June 27, 2022, a Black Lincoln Navigator arrived to escort plaintiff. to Combs' Hollywood Hills residence. I've completely lost my track. When plaintiff arrived at the party, one of Combs' business associates greeted him at the entrance. The person explained plaintiff needed to execute a non-disclosure agreement as a condition of entry into the party. Plaintiff ultimately consented to the agreement because he wanted to meet Combs and have an opportunity to promote his business. So again, trying to grow his business, just trying to mingle. Who thinks that going to a networking event will end in such tragedy? And it just keeps happening around Diddy. It's completely ridiculous. Combs' associates did not provide him with a copy of the executed non-disclosure agreement. We are going to find that this is a trend in these stories. They're having people sign non-disclosure agreements because allegedly these parties are freaky deaky and the celebrities do not want other people to know that they're doing this. But now people are not keeping their mouth on the hush hush. So at these non-disclosures agreements, I don't even know what they say. You didn't even give me a copy of it to know what it says, to know what I cannot divulge. So, sucks to suck, Diddy. Really sucks to suck by trying to do this to people. Let's see here. Where was I going with this? After signing the agreement, Combs' associate then handed plaintiff a drink, which looked like a typical tequila soda with cranberry juice mixer. Combs' associates instructed plaintiff to drink the beverage as another condition to gain entry into the party. Plaintiff obliged and took a sip of the drink. Once inside the residence, a model and current client of plaintiff greeted him. Plaintiff felt more comfortable and at ease after seeing a familiar face. Plaintiff observed numerous celebrities in attendance at the party, adding to the glamorous yet overwhelming atmosphere. Eventually, a business associate of Combs guided plaintiff from a large room illuminated with red lights into a smaller room. There, plaintiff observed approximately a dozen individuals, including several well-known figures who were engaging in group sex activities. Now, while group sex activities are wild, that's not what we're going to focus on right now. Remember when Buzbee came out and said there's all these celebrities, and if they don't step up now, they are going to be named in lawsuits? And the fact that they don't want to be named in lawsuits, they need to come forward and basically clear their name, pay us off, essentially. Well, there's a couple of other celebrities mentioned throughout these cases that we're going through today. They didn't disclose any. I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil it. They did not disclose anyone's names. I wanted to know who these celebrities were. I thought you had the T, Buzbee. There is no T. Who is it? Tell us who they are. But we know that there's a bunch of celebrities there. Not interesting for us. We want to know who they are. Eventually, a business associate of Combs guided plaintiff from a large room illuminated with red lights into a smaller room. There, plaintiff observed approximately a dozen individuals, including several well-known figures who were engaging in group sex activities. Once inside this smaller room, plaintiff began to feel disoriented, dizzy, and weak, far beyond what he would expect from consuming a single alcoholic beverage. So this is just another person being drunk off of one drink when most people would not be drunk off of one drink, or not even drunk, feeling like drugged. You don't feel drugged off of one drink. Most people wouldn't. It became clear to him that something was wrong. He later realized someone had drugged him. We are seeing this picture again that we talked about earlier. It's going to be the same picture. We'll love to see how this information comes into evidence if these cases make it to trial. With the criminal case pending, I just don't see it making it to trial, but we'll see when we go there. This is an example photo of what they would use in order to drug the drinks. Again, they handed him the drink, so I would expect for it to already be spiked. Not that they're spiking it right in front of him. That wouldn't be a good predator move. Not that I'm trying to teach people how to be predators, but I don't think that would be a good move to do it right in front of people. Maybe he did it like that at other people's parties, but to me, it doesn't make sense to do it like that at his own parties, if that makes sense. At this moment of realizing his significant impairment, Combs approached plaintiff, removed his pants, and began performing non-consensual oral sex on him. How do you just walk up to someone and start doing that to them? And they don't want that done to them. And they can't move. And my thing is like, what is so attractive of someone not being able to move? I don't get that. Why do you need to drug people to convince them to want to hook up with you? I can't wrap my head around that idea. And as a celebrity, you would probably be more likely to get someone to hook up with you. Unless, I guess, he gets off on SAing people. That could be the only thing, because I don't see why you have to drug the people. That must be what he gets off on. Okay. Combs then directed plaintiff to perform oral sex on another individual in the room, also known as Celebrity A. So now we got a Celebrity A getting oral from this very impaired guy. Due to the haze of the drugs, he had been clandestinely served. Plaintiff could not resist Combs' coercion and ordering. He felt trapped inside of his own body, and that's what a lot of people were talking about, the GHB, and that's what it does to you. You're able to still do actions, you just don't really have control over it. So that's what he's describing here. Plaintiff could not resist the coercion and ordering. He felt trapped inside of his own body, unable to control it and understand what was happening around him. As a result, plaintiff was forced to perform non-consensual oral sex on Celebrity A. Who are these people? We want to know who they are. After Celebrity A finished, this individual spit into plaintiff's mouth. That's nasty. That's really nasty. At this point, the drugs and plaintiff system were progressively hampering his motor skills and memory. The drugs caused him to lose consciousness for a brief periods of time. While in and out of consciousness, individuals at the party forced plaintiff into sexual acts with both men and women. Plaintiff's physical disposition made it impossible for him to reject their advances or otherwise control his body. These individuals, including Combs, essentially passed plaintiff drugged body around like a party favor for their sexual enjoyment. The drugs and plaintiff system ultimately caused him to completely lose consciousness for an extended period of time. Plaintiff does not recall anything after this point. When plaintiff finally regained consciousness, he found himself outside of his apartment, disoriented, without a shirt and without his phone. Plaintiff is unaware who took him back to his apartment and how he got there. At least they gave him a ride home, I guess. As a direct result of the traumatic events at Combs' party, plaintiff has suffered severe emotional and psychological trauma, financial harm, and significant loss of livelihood. He is suing for more than the gender-motivated violence. He's suing for sexual harassment and SA. And I think that's it. He's not suing for the gender-motivated violence. So this guy, just trying to expand his business, ends up getting assaulted at a Diddy party, which is completely inappropriate. Like, why can he not figure out how to get people without drugging them? Everyone's adults. People can consent. What is it that's so special about not consenting? And most of these people that we're covering today are going to be drugged, but we do have some people that will not be drugged in the stories that we cover. And so let's jump over to the next case. All right. I was surprised when I was finding all of these cases that Buzbee Law firm has filed to find that the majority of the people that are coming forward about Diddy are male. They are men. The man, Diddy, presents himself as being this, ladies' man. And then to come to find out that he is assaulting, at least according to the lawsuits that have been filed so far, he's now assaulting more men than women in these particular lawsuits, right? And everyone was really shocked when the Rodney Jones lawsuit came out and that it was a man. They were shocked about that. And now that we're covering all of these lawsuits, there's nothing to be shocked about because he doesn't discriminate at this point. He doesn't care if you're a man. He doesn't care if you're a woman. He doesn't even care if you're a kid. He's gross. Okay. His MO is to allegedly, under these complaints, just harm people. He doesn't care who it is. He just has to be in control, according to these lawsuits. So we jump over to the next victim in this case, who is an employee for a management company. So let's jump into it. Plaintiff worked for Royal Rhines Management, a prestigious company based out of New York City with additional offices in Los Angeles and Atlanta. Through plaintiff's industry connections, he gained access to parties associated with Combs and Bad Boys Entertainment. One party took place in or around October 2021. So this is another recent case. These connections and invitations ultimately led to a life-altering and traumatic experience for plaintiff. Combs' business picked plaintiff up from an airport and transported him to New York City, where the party was to take place. Upon arrival, plaintiff noticed several well-known artists in attendance. Plaintiff was immediately offered what he was told was ecstasy by associates of Combs' businesses, which plaintiff refused. At least these people are turning down the drugs, but then they get him with a drink. Plaintiff limited himself to just one drink. And so I've heard people come out about Diddy parties and people telling them you are not to have more than 2 drinks at a Diddy party and you need to leave before a certain amount of time. He actually went in there with a game plan to only have 1 drink and he still ended up in a bad position. Even though plaintiff only consumed 1 alcoholic drink, the effects of the drink were immediate and overwhelming. We've heard this from so many victims of Diddy, right? This behavior towards plaintiff mimics a pattern of Combs and his agents, employees drugging unsuspecting victims in order to make it easier for Combs to SA that person. Unfortunately, plaintiff was one such victim. A photograph of the example container. Again, we have seen this picture. This is not a unique picture to these lawsuits. They're just poking it into any of the lawsuits that they think it applies to. Plaintiff soon became disoriented and the room started spinning in a state of confusion. He attempted to remove himself from the situation, seeking a safe space. As plaintiff tried to leave, a male voice told him to hold on and he promised to help him. The next thing plaintiff remembers is being in a bedroom despite being vaguely aware of his surroundings. He could not move, speak, or fight back. Plaintiff was paralyzed, feeling as if he was trapped in his own body. Multiple men began to SA him through sodomy and other forced acts. So now he has multiple people in this room assaulting this one plaintiff who cannot defend himself. He distinctly recalls seeing Combs above him, naked at one point during the assault. During this time, plaintiff was sodomized by at least 3 men. He basically says that he can feel the size difference, so that's how he knows that it was multiple men and not just one man. He said he continues to attend therapy sessions to address the trauma from the experience that he suffered at the hands of Diddy. He is suing for gender-motivated violence, and I believe that is the only. Oh no, he is also suing under assault, battery, R-word, and sexual acts aggravated SA. So he's suing under several theories. Like I said, this is a more recent case, so the statute of limitations have not passed for this case. So this guy, again, just trying to do business. Literally just trying to be doing business, not a model, not someone that went there for these reasons, not a hired escort. He's none of that. He's literally just there to do business. And then this happens to him by 3 people. And then he works for this management company. He would probably have to work with them again and just have to be quiet about it. I think that sucks. And so we're going to take a pause from the cases and we're going to jump into why all of these people are filing anonymously. So if you guys have been watching from the beginning, or if you skipped around from the beginning, you will see that all of these people are falling under Jane Doe or John Doe, which is like the classic anonymous name when we're talking about cases and we don't know the identity of the people. Of course, the Buzbee Law firm knows the identity of the people, but the people do not want the public to know the identity of the people. How many times did I have to say identity of the people? Courts do not like when people file under John Doe, Jane Doe, anonymous names, because they believe our court cases are public cases and the public should be able to know who is suing who. And also the defendant has to know who's suing them. A lot of the reasoning is because Diddy allegedly, according to several sources, intimidates witnesses. But in order to proceed with the lawsuit, they're going to eventually have to disclose who is the person suing. And Buzbee is asking for the person to only be disclosed to the defendant, which is Diddy, which is the person that's being accused of threatening and intimidating witnesses. So that is strange to me that they're okay eventually disclosing who they are to Diddy. And my thing is, if all these people are drugged and they can't, they can remember things. If Diddy is doing this to that many people, there is no way. And maybe he does remember everything. But to me, I feel like there is no way that he remembers all of these incidences stretching that far, 1990s to the 2020s, okay? I think 2022 is the most recent one that we've seen. So let's take a look at the declaration by Buzbee explaining why his clients need to be anonymous. Now, this is just one from one particular case, and all of them are pretty much the same. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. This is the declaration of Anthony Buzbee in support of plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously. They have to ask for the court's permission. I am the owner of the Buzbee Law Firm and counsel for John Doe. I make this declaration in support of plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously. If required by this court, I will disclose plaintiff name to counsel for the defendants. Okay, so I misread that earlier. It's just the counsel of the defendants. However, he would be able to tell his client. However, I would request a hearing prior to any such order in light of the threats of violence made by defendant in similar circumstances. Plaintiff is by no means the only victim of Combs to fear violence and retribution for coming forward. My firm currently represents over 200 clients with claims against Mr. Combs. Remember in the interviews, he was saying it was 120 clients. Now he's saying there are 200 clients with claims against Diddy. Strikingly, an overwhelming number of these clients, likely in excess of 80%, have stated to me or attorneys at my firm during their intake process that Combs made threats of violence against them. So before these people even filed the lawsuits, they're saying that Diddy was already threatening them. Let's see. Combs has made threats against them or against the client's family members if the client disclosed to anyone the fact of the SAs or other acts of Mr. Combs of which they are a victim. For many of the clients referenced above, Mr. Combs' threats of violence were a primary reason why they did not speak out or file the lawsuit earlier. Most of the clients still fear retribution and have conditioned moving forward anonymously. With regard to this action, plaintiff John Doe has not spoken publicly about the incident that underlie the causes of action in this complaint. So basically, these people will probably drop their lawsuit if they're required to disclose their names. And actually, in several of the lawsuits, they had to refile because the court declined to allow them to move forward anonymously. And if they didn't give up their name within 30 days, they couldn't proceed with their case. So Buzbee has had to fight on some of the cases. And imagine the judges, they're getting an influx of these lawsuits that started off exactly the same. Like I'm telling y'all, the first 10 to 12 pages of these lawsuits are all the same for all of these victims, with a variation of some defendants, like the one we're going to cover in a little bit involving Macy's. Okay. Slight variations in defendants, but they're literally all the same. So they're getting the influx of these cases. And then they're talking about all of these people are anonymous. How do we know that the law firm they're not making up these cases? How do we know that? And the judge has to be strict on allowing these cases to come forward anonymously and people not knowing who they're being sued by. So this is an example of the letter that he wrote to the court on several of the cases. And that's another thing that has been standing out about these cases. This attorney is in Texas and he practices in Texas and probably got special permission to practice in New York. But when you don't practice in certain courts commonly, you don't know all the procedures. And one of the procedures that he clearly messed up on was just filing these cases anonymously without asking for the court's permission moving forward. So that is a point that I wanted to make to y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into the next. We got 5 more stories to get through. And this is where we're going to give a trigger warning because we are going to get a little bit more into the younger victims of Diddy under Buzbee's representation. Okay, so I also wanted to do this after that part. We're getting into, trigger warning because we're going to be talking about some of the younger victims coming up here. We are going to jump right into this one. Is not one of the younger victims, but this one, I don't know if she was like an influencer, but I just assumed she was an influencer by the way they kind of described how she ended up at this party. So let me go ahead and jump right into that one. Let's see where we are. Defendant Sean Combs' infamous Las Vegas parties, now we're in Las Vegas, were legendary events known for the exclusivity, extravagance, and celebrity guest list. These high-profile parties attracted A-list celebrities from across the entertainment, fashion, and business worlds. The events were lavishly decorated, featured live music, and boasted top-tier food and beverages. We've seen that sentence somewhere in another one of the lawsuits. The atmosphere at these parties was one of opulence and luxury. Ooh, we've seen that one too. Often making headlines for their celebrity guest list, over-the-top entertainment, and the stunning aesthetic of the event. Many unsuspecting individuals were recruited to attend these parties. Some individuals were recruited in various cities and were paid to fly in and attend these functions. Now, did we not see this whole paragraph in a different one that we covered, I think, for the all-white party? On Memorial Day weekend of 2014. So this one is not as old, but not as new. It's about 10 years old. Plaintiff and her two friends visited Las Vegas to stay at the Hotel Rio. While there, plaintiff contacted various people she'd met in the entertainment industry in order to find out if any cool events would be taking place. And this is why I think that she's an influencer. She's basically reaching out to promoters to figure out where to go and potentially where to go for free. That would be my assumption there. One such contact was an entertainer who identified himself as International Smooth, who plaintiff had met a few years prior at a party in Miami. Plaintiff was never able to ascertain his legal name, but connected with him through Instagram using the moniker. Plaintiff discovered that Smooth was in Las Vegas through his Instagram stories, and after contacting him, discovered that he worked for Combs as a party promoter. Smooth invited plaintiff to an exclusive party in Las Vegas' popular poolside lounge called Club BriHive. Smooth made it very clear that this was an exclusive celebrity party and plaintiff's two friends were not invited. Only plaintiff, despite having some awkwardness with the prohibition, plaintiff, with the encouragement of her friends, decided to attend the party to potentially network with the influential people there. So again, someone probably still wanting to party, but also to network with other people. She decided to go without her friend. She's in a different place. It doesn't sound like she's from Las Vegas. She's staying at the Rio. She wanted to find something to do with her friends, and this party promoter said, no new friends, okay? We don't want them here. You can come because I know you, essentially, or I've met you before. And then we're going to get some celebrities mentioned, but not in the way that we want to be nosy in, but there's going to be some celebrities mentioned here. While at the party, plaintiff met many celebrities, including Mary J. Blige, Little Kim, and Nicki Minaj. She saw more that she did not meet. Plaintiff took pictures or videos with many of the celebrities and posted them to her private Instagram page. Plaintiff was also introduced to Combs, who greeted her and said he hoped she had a lot of fun at the party. Eventually, the party at Club BriHive died down, and plaintiff was invited by Smooth to an after party at Combs' suite at the Planet Hollywood Hotel. While there, plaintiff spoke to Combs again, and he directed her to a bar area with tens of dozens of open bottle of his Ciroc branded vodka. Now, that is where I think the drug drinks come in the whole bottle. I don't see why they would waste their time putting a little dab here, putting a dab there. I think they're just going to put it in the bottle. She said there were tens of dozens of open bottles already. The Ciroc only has like 5 flavors. Why do you need so many bottles open? So that's just my thoughts. That's my thoughts. I could be wrong. While there, plaintiff spoke to Combs again, and he directed her to the bar area with the bottles. Combs directed plaintiff to grab a bottle and help herself. Plaintiff also took video of Combs at the party and posted them to her Instagram. Now, aren't those lovely pictures of Diddy? Looks like he's having a wonderful time, right? Plaintiff did as she was suggested by Combs and took a few sips of what she thought to be vodka from one of the open bottles, but about 40 minutes after having 1 or 2 drinks from the Ciroc bottle, plaintiff began to feel nauseated and dizzy, slowly losing control of her motor functions. This occurred at around 8 p.m. in the evening. A photograph of the example of the container, we've seen this before, same picture. Plaintiff informed Smooth that she did not feel well and likely would need to leave the party soon. Smooth directed her to an empty bedroom in the suite and told her to lie down there until she felt better. He told her not to worry about being disturbed because the door would be locked. The next thing he's telling her the door would be locked. How does he know? Why wouldn't the door lock from the inside? Why would she not be able to lock it herself? And why would he feel the need to tell her that? The next thing plaintiff recalls is waking up the following morning feeling very groggy and sore. Her entire body hurt and it felt difficult to move. As soon as she awoke, she saw Combs in the corner of the room, shirtless and yelling loudly and with animation at someone over the phone. He was the only person in the room with her, and it was clear that someone else had been in bed with her. So she's basically accusing Diddy of being in the bed with her, but she doesn't remember anything that happened. Out of the fear and confusion, plaintiff remained silent and still until Combs left the room and she heard the front door of the suite close. Plaintiff eventually got up and realized she was naked and her general soreness was more aggravated in her lady parts area. Plaintiff was horrified to realize that she was R-worded by Combs. She found her belongings, including her dad's cell phone, and made her way back to the Hotel Rio where her friends were staying. Upon arriving at the hotel, plaintiff's friends were shocked to see the state that she was in. They tried to help her. Plaintiff indicated that all she wanted to do was shower and rest. She basically indicated that she slept for 2 days. And in the aftermath of the assault, plaintiff struggled with an intense emotional pain, mental health issues, feeling disgusted, and deeply depressed. Plaintiff has experienced a significant impact on her personal life. She struggles to maintain relationships or be in party atmospheres due to the assault. Not a day goes by without plaintiff without thinking of the traumatic incident. The first cause of action she sues under is battery under Nevada law against defendant Combs. And then she also sues for false imprisonment under Nevada law against all the defendants because they locked her in the room, according to her. Because the guy said the door would be locked. Did she ever know if the door was locked? Did she ever try to leave? Also, if she was drugged, then she couldn't try to leave. So, I mean, I guess that can qualify as false imprisonment as well as making her unable to leave the room. That's an interesting theory, and I would love to see how that one goes forward if she just passed out anyway. So, interesting. We are going to jump into one of the younger victims in the case. So again, trigger warning for child SA. And we'll try to get through this one without too much pause, too much comment. I just want you guys to hear what this person is claiming happened to her when she was 13 years old. So let's have Bossy B. Okay, so this one took place on or around September 7th of 2000. So this is one of the older cases, almost 25 years old here. Plaintiff was then 13-year-old, had a friend drop her off at a Radio City Music Hall in New York City so she could try to attend the VMAs. Plaintiff arrived at the venue and saw large crowds gathering as artists and entertainers began arriving. She was trying to get into the VMAs. She essentially couldn't get in. She ran into a limo driver who told her that Diddy liked younger girls and she fit what Diddy was looking for, not allowing her into the awards, but inviting her to an after party. So this limo driver told her, like, you're young and Diddy would like you, but you can't come into the VMAs. But how about you come back to our house or our after party with us? A 13-year-old child saying Diddy likes him young. In 2000, he was in his probably 30s or 40s. Weird. He's weird, okay? The driver instructed plaintiff to return around 9:30 or 10 p.m., promising to take her to the party. So weird. Later that evening, plaintiff excitedly returned to the driver who drove her alone in the back of a limousine with the black interior. I'm sorry, at 13 years old, I just don't know how you end up in that situation, but she was also by herself trying to get into the VMAs. So I don't know. After approximately 20 minutes, plaintiff arrived at a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway. Once inside, two men asked plaintiff to sign a non-disclosure agreement informing her that she could not discuss what happened at the party. She gave them her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. Mind you, 13-year-olds cannot sign contracts. Do they not understand this? So they made her sign the contract. They didn't give her a copy, so she doesn't even know what she cannot disclose. And also, she's 13. So any signature that she puts on a document, you cannot use. You can also not use an NDA to absorb yourself from liability for assaulting people or SAing people, for committing crimes against people. You cannot use an NDA for that. So yeah. Inside the house, plaintiff recognized many celebrities in what appeared to be a living room. Waitstaff carried trays of drinks and loud music played throughout the house. Plaintiff observed a widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine. Plaintiff accepted a drink, a reddish, who gives a 13-year-old an alcoholic drink? A reddish yellow mixture that tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something bitter. After drinking just one drink, plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, making her need to lie down. They show us another one of these containers that we've seen multiple times already. Looking for a place to rest, plaintiff entered to what she believed to be an empty bedroom so she could lie down for a moment. She did not lock the door. Now, one thing that we are learning from these cases, don't go into any empty rooms and lay down in a Diddy's party. It's almost like a setup. It's a setup. Soon after, Combs, along with a male and female celebrity, entered the room. Combs aggressively, and again, trigger warning for child SA. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Mind you, she just told us that she was feeling bad and she needed to lay down. Combs then threw plaintiff towards another male celebrity, Celebrity A, who removed plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Celebrity A, who lady parts R-worded her, while Combs and Celebrity B, a female, watched. After the male celebrity finished, Combs then R-worded plaintiff, while Celebrity A and Celebrity B watched. Who is this woman watching this happen to a child? I would really like to know. Celebrity A and Diddy participated in it. So we already know you guys are disgusting. But who is the woman sitting there watching this happen to a literal child? Why are y'all not name drop? Name drop these folks. Name drop them. We need to know who they are. They need to be publicly shamed just like Diddy is. Combs attempted to force plaintiff to perform oral sex on him, but she resisted by hitting Combs in the neck and he stopped. Plaintiff grabbed her clothes and shoes and left the bedroom, roaming naked through the house, looking for an exit for the party. Once outside, plaintiff put her clothes back on and left the scene in the dark. Eventually, plaintiff reached a gas station. A female clerk noticed her in distress and allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she lied about her whereabouts, and asked him to pick her up. After the assault, plaintiff fell into a deep depression, which continues to affect her every facet of life. She is suing for the gender-motivated violence. And this one happened in 2000. So that is the only thing that she can really sue under because of the statute of limitations. So this one is disgusting. I don't know how he got away with this kind of stuff and how there were other adults. I'm assuming Celebrity A and Celebrity B are other adults. I mean, Celebrity A is the one participating in it. So can we really, they're just as bad as Diddy. But adults watching this happen to a child, I can never understand adults being attracted to children. And then when you're a celebrity with everything and you have everything and you're still doing this to children. And you're just still drugging people. You can literally have whoever you want. Voluntarily, not the way that they're doing. They could do it voluntarily. Maybe everybody wouldn't go for a celebrity, but enough people, the people that are in your industry and wanting to be around you, you could probably get them, right? But you're doing this to unsuspecting people and people that do not want to be a part of this. That's disgusting. Very disgusting. Sorry, y'all. I went into this live stream expecting to be happy, but it's just so much harm being done to people. I can't keep the happiness up, okay? So let's jump into our next victim. And I'm calling them victims, not plaintiffs, because they are being victimized, according to these stories, by this man. And we're back to no one being safe. Not even the enemies are safe from Diddy. Actually, he decided that he's going to teach this enemy a lesson. And so we jump back to 2008 when Sean John was popping, okay? Diddy's clothing brand was popping at this time. And another brand that was popping at the time was Ecko Clothing. And this plaintiff worked for Ecko Clothing, a competing brand to Sean John. They both were being sold in Macy's. So let's go ahead and jump into what this one has to say. They were both hitting their peak of popularity. Ecko and Sean John was competing lines within the clothing industry, both having a large amount of success within the hip hop community. Moreover, both lines had relationships with and were carried at the time. Sorry, why can I not read? Moreover, both lines had relationships with and were carried at the time by Macy's, because that sentence is weird structurally, as well known to. It was carried at Macy's, the department store, okay? In or around May 2008, plaintiff was in the stockroom at Macy's flagship store in Herald Square in Manhattan when Combs and 3 of his bodyguards entered the stockroom. When I tell you this escalates quickly, y'all, bear with me here. Plaintiff came upon Combs and his bodyguards at a T-junction in the stockroom, where plaintiff had a very little room to maneuver. Combs was flanked by 2 large bodyguards on the left and 1 large bodyguard on the right. Immediately after turning a corner in the stockroom, plaintiff was hit hard around the base of the neck, possibly with a pistol. So he doesn't know what hit him, but something hit him and it was hard and potentially cold. He thought it was a pistol. The blow forced plaintiff to his hands and knees. As plaintiff looked up, he watched that each of the bodyguards had guns in their waistbands. Like, what are y'all doing? Y'all are at Macy's in the stockroom. Plaintiff heard multiple voices call out things like, "I'll kill you." So again, he's threatening unalive people. Combs approached plaintiff while plaintiff was still on his hands and knees and said, "Suck my bleep, suck my man part, Ecko," referring to the clothing line that plaintiff worked for. Diddy, you're beefing with another business competitor. Your enemy, right? Business enemy, right? These people didn't do anything to you. They're just selling clothes like you're selling clothes. You're beefing with this clothing brand so hard that you're going to SA their employee in the Macy's stockroom? And by the way, y'all, I don't know if I made this clear, but plaintiff is a male. It's another guy. Diddy, no way. Combs thereafter forced his man part into plaintiff's mouth and proceeded to forcefully and brutally orally rape R-word plaintiff. Combs continued for at least 2 minutes until ejaculating. Why does it not surprise me that it only took him 2 minutes? I'll get into what I think about his sexual desires. I feel like he feels that he is inadequate. And so he has to drug people and force himself on them so that people don't realize how inadequate sexually he is. That's what I feel. That's my opinion about him and why he's doing this to all these people. Let me know what y'all think. I think he's just inadequate. While orally R-wording plaintiff, Combs grabbed plaintiff's hair and made derogatory comments like, "You like that, white boy." That escalated. After he was finished, Combs threw plaintiff's head aside and said words to the effect of, "Shut up or I'll kill you." Combs and his bodyguards began to leave, taunting plaintiff as they did. Combs proceeded to gather Sean John merchandise from the stockroom. Remember, this is all over beef over Sean John. Sean John and Ecko. Do y'all remember Sean John and Ecko clothing? Like, do you remember that? It's not that deep. The clothing was not that hot, okay? All of this is over a beef in selling clothes. He left the stockroom and headed out to the Macy's retail floor, where he began passing out merchandise to a adoring crowd as if nothing happened. He just orally R-worded an Ecko man in the stockroom and then went in and passed out free Sean John. In shock and traumatized, plaintiff gathered himself and went to Macy's security to report the assault. By this point, Combs and his bodyguards had left the store. Plaintiff was told that someone would speak to him, but no one ever did. Shortly thereafter, Macy's stopped letting plaintiff into the flagship Herald Square store. So Macy's just got rid of him. And just to let y'all know, Macy's was a plaintiff in this one too. Approximately 3 weeks later, Terry Lundgren, a CEO of Macy's, pressured Ecko executives to fire plaintiff because Macy had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Sean John Clothing. So he's doing this stuff and he's still getting deals, y'all. Ecko thereafter terminated plaintiff from employment, and plaintiff was told he could no longer live in his company paid apartment. Plaintiff is informed and believes that the report of the assault was destroyed and otherwise purged from Macy's records, and no action was ever taken as a result of the report. Plaintiff ultimately had to move out of New York. Plaintiff still fears for his life as a result of the incident and the threats made against him on that day, including the fact that plaintiff was known to Combs by way of his work with the rival clothing company Ecko. So he thought that Combs would be able to find him even after this incident, even after moving out of New York. So he got fired for working for a company. And this one was the first one that we covered that didn't actually involve him drugging someone. And the next few are going to be cases where it doesn't involve Diddy drugging. I think all of them does not involve him drugging anyone because they refused or they weren't offered anything. He's also suing under the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. So absolutely insane. Beefing over clothes. That's what we're talking about here. Now, trigger warning again, because we're getting into yet another young victim. So trigger warning for child SA here. Let's jump right into it. This person, again, wanting to network with people that he thinks are cool, and this happens to him by Diddy. Because all the cases are about by Diddy. Mr. Combs' legendary white parties in the Hamptons. We already heard about this. This one was in 1998 when John Doe was a 16-year-old who was recruited out of New York City, and indeed, while residing in New York City, received an invitation to one of Combs' parties through a mutual connection. Why did they write it like that? And indeed, while residing in New York City, why did they write it like that? When he received an invitation, he felt like he finally had an opportunity to rub shoulders with the who's who of the industry. He thought it could be his chance to break into the music industry. Others from New York City received such invitations to go to the Hamptons for the party. Indeed, why do they keep putting indeed? Who wrote this? Indeed, many of those at the party were in fact New Yorkers. I cannot take it seriously with the indeeds. The party took place at Combs' mansion in the Hamptons. As John Doe entered, he spotted countless celebrities and A-listers who formed the music and entertainment industry. He recognized faces he had seen on TV and on big screens. As John Doe made his way through the crowd toward the restroom, he unexpectedly bumped into Combs. Shocked, John Doe found himself face to face with Combs, a titan in the music industry, standing right in front of him at his own party. Doe took a picture with Combs at the 1998 party. So this is Diddy. This is the victim. Of course, they blurred out his face because he's proceeding anonymously. And then you see all these people dressed in their lovely white outfits in the back. And you actually see kids. I didn't even notice this when I was reading. There's a lot of kids there. Combs took an interest in John Doe and wanted to talk to him. They walked to a more private area near the portable restrooms brought in for the party. There, John Doe told Combs he was a big fan of Combs and shared his dreams of becoming a star. Combs smiled, telling him he had potential and the look. When John Doe admitted his voice was not great, Combs assured him that did not matter. Combs made clear that the only thing that mattered was having the right look in the industry, and with it, Combs could transform Doe or anybody into a star. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't think Diddy has the look. So what is the look? I don't think he has the look. What did he just get lucky? Or does he think he has talent? I think he has time. I think he has talent in finding talent. I don't think he got talent. Despite the pleasant conversation which occurred, things took an unexpected turn for the worse. Combs abruptly told John Doe, and here we go into this escalation out of nowhere, right? Combs abruptly told John Doe that he needed to drop his pants. John Doe, caught completely off guard, confusedly asked Combs to repeat himself. Combs made himself clear. He instructed John Doe to drop his pen and expose his man part so Combs could inspect it. Explaining it was a rite of passage and the route to becoming a star. Inspecting your penis is a rite of passage? And also as a way to prove himself, don't you want to break into the business? Not like that. Doe immediately felt uncomfortable, froze, and did not know what to do. Combs remained calm and stood in front of him and stretched out his hand in a cup position. So my guy was like this. Sorry, My guy was like this, sir, to a child, to anybody. Why are you doing that in the middle of the party by the porta potties? Y'all are by the porta potties. What's wrong with him? Out of fear and anxiety and the imbalance of power dynamic between himself and Combs, John Doe then dropped his pants and exposed his man parts as Combs previously instructed. Poor child. Combs moved closer and grabbed John Doe's man parts and genitals with his hand. He firmly cupped and held onto John Doe's genitals for an extended period of time. Why? Why? During this time, Combs moved his hand in such a fashion to manipulate John Doe's genitals, squeezing and filling them. Doe was only 16. Why? Combs abruptly then let go of John Doe's genitals and told him that his people would be in touch. Combs continued with his party as if nothing had happened, but for John Doe, everything had changed. John Doe eventually recognized Combs sexually assaulted him by and through his power and influence over John Doe because he knew John Doe wanted to become a star. As a result of Combs' essay onto John Doe while he was a minor, John Doe experienced damages including pain and suffering, mental anguish, physical impairment, and emotional torment. The interaction continues to humiliate and cause shame on John Doe. Because of Combs' power and notoriety, plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. John Doe became yet another SA victim of Combs through the same pattern of abuse and influence Combs exercised on others previously. Like, come on. That's so weird. He is also suing for under the Gender Motivated Violence Act, and that is the only cause of action that he's suing under. I just don't understand the purpose. I really don't. Let me know what y'all think. Not only are you doing this to a child, you're doing it outside. You're doing it while other people are at the party. You're doing it while other children are at the party. And then you're by the porta potties. Like, is no one using the bathroom at this time? Are you not afraid to get caught? Everyone else has been like in a private room where you couldn't see them. But this one is out in public. And this is one of the earlier incidences. Absolutely ridiculous. We are on to our last victim of the night from Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, of the lawsuits filed by Buzbee. And like I said, there were other lawsuits filed against Diddy in the last 3 weeks as well, but they're not by Buzbee, so that's why we're not covering them on this live stream. But we should cover them eventually, okay? So let's go ahead and have Bossy B. We have another victim that is a grown man just trying to network. And he's what we would assume would be a popular guy. It's a jeweler. Diddy is assaulting jewelers allegedly. So let's see. In or around 2022, during a promotional party for the launch of Combs' Ciroc Vodka drink, plaintiff defended Combs' SA plaintiff, a businessman from Los Angeles and owner of a family business specializing in renting luxury cars and jewelry. Over the previous years, plaintiff had established a business relationship with Combs, who was a customer of his rental business, often renting vehicles or jewelry for himself or those in his entourage. Combs personally invited plaintiff to the Ciroc party. Plaintiff accepted based on he and Combs' past relationship. Combs told plaintiff that many other high-profile guests in the music entertainment business would attend the party. Plaintiff saw the party as an opportunity to promote himself and his business, as you should at parties with celebrities. And he does things that celebrities like luxury cars and jewelry. At no point does he expect to be groped by the diddler. No one wants to be groped by you, diddler. The only thing I can imagine, this guy is just inadequate. That's what I'm coming to after reading all of these. Once at the party, plaintiff noticed many high-profile guests. Plaintiff took the photograph below, which shows plaintiff on a couch discussing the Ciroc business with other high-profile individuals. Multiple bottles of Combs Ciroc vodka can be seen on the table. One thing that I thought was odd about these cases, and just the cases against Diddy in general, I thought they made people put away their phones. But all of these people have these photos that I would think they wouldn't be allowed to have, but they do. So, of course, they block all of the other high-profile people because they're not trying to name drop them right now. During the event, Combs instructed plaintiff to join him in Combs' private office. Plaintiff went into the office where the two were alone. He's so weird. Plaintiff assumed Combs wanted to have a discussion about business. However, plaintiff immediately realized Combs was intoxicated and acting strangely. Like, imagine being two what you think are straight men. No one really knew Diddy was diddling to men, right? I didn't know. I'm assuming everyone else didn't know. Imagine being two what you think are straight men going into an office. You're a businessman. He's a businessman. What do you think that you're going to be doing in that office? Talking business, okay? My guy's trying to promote his business. But Diddy had some other things on his mind. My guy was drunk. He was lit and he was acting weird. This guy, he was acting weird. Combs began awkwardly moving closer to plaintiff. As he did so, Combs removed his pants and exposed his genitalia to plaintiffs. Why do you keep taking your pants off? And why do you want everyone else to take their pants off? Combs continued to move closer and then grabbed plaintiff's genitals through his pants, squeezing them in a rough and sexual manner. Plaintiff, shocked and disoriented, froze momentarily and did not know how to respond to the weirdly inappropriate sexual advances made by Combs. Yeah, this is weird. How you just grab this man, grab him by the balls, I guess. Jeez Louise. The situation escalated until another individual, professional athlete A, the only person not being a freaking weirdo in the situation other than the victim, entered the office and intervened, which ended Combs' assault on plaintiff. So not only is he being weird to you, now this athlete knows that Diddy is a weirdo because he's in there squeezing this man's balls. Have y'all seen Friday After Next, where Cat Williams, it has pliers to Terry Cruz's man parts? That scene just came into my head. But why are you grabbing people by the balls? And that's your way of coming on to them? I don't know how many people that would ever excite. What did you think was going to happen there? You thought he's going to be like, yeah, I like it when you aggressively grab my balls at a party, and I think we're about to discuss a business deal. Is that where he thought this was going? I don't get it. But shout out to athlete A. Why I didn't want to name them for saving this man. At this moment, plaintiff escaped from Combs and left the office. After escaping the office, plaintiff left the party and then returned home. Like, yeah, it's time to go home after that. To help plaintiff document the encounter, plaintiff took a photograph of the Ciroc vodka Combs gave him at the party that Combs ultimately SA'd plaintiff. It is shown below. He has a basically memorandum of what happened to him that night. As a result of the incident, plaintiff has suffered significant emotional distress and trauma. He continues to deal with psychological and emotional consequences of the event that happened in Combs' private office. He is suing for SA and SH under California law. And that's the only cause of action that he's suing under. So that is our last person or last victim of today. As you guys can see, across the globe, Diddy was assaulting people across. Didn't matter who you were. Didn't matter if you was a lady. Didn't matter if you was a man. Didn't matter if you were a child, a girl, or a boy. He is into everything. And the only thing that I can possibly think that can explain anything is that he's inadequate and he has to trick people into sleeping with him. I don't know why he would. I just don't know why he needs to drug people. Well, I do know why. He's inadequate. Allegedly, and in my opinion, he has to be. Because if you think you're this hottie toddy, shouldn't you be able to pull any body? Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm a rapper. Like I said, I don't think Diddy has a talent, but that was off the dome. That was talent right there. That was talent. Diddy, not so much talent. You gotta drug people to make them like you? Oh, gross. That's so gross. As y'all know, this is a live stream. We are covering the chats now. So if you have thoughts, let us know your thoughts in the comments. We're going to jump right into it. Let's have Bossy B. And just to give an update, I will not be streaming tomorrow because I will be on an airplane for 12 hours. So I will not be streaming tomorrow. We will be back next week, probably Tuesday and Wednesday, to cover our live streams. We will not be streaming tomorrow, Thursday. So thank you all for joining me tonight. And of course, this will be up on the replay. Let's see what the chat has to say. We're going all the way back to the beginning, so bear with me. We got Danielle saying, found you from Runkle Stream this past weekend, and I'm excited to be here for my first live stream. Well, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. We are happy to have you here as well. We got Stargazer Kawaii saying, that poor man. Yeah, I don't remember which one this came in on, but all of them are bad stories, right? Stargazer Kawaii says, these stories are sad and disgusting. They're horrible. Y'all see, it took away my happy energy. I thought I was going to be able to cover this with at least a smile on my face, but I started to lose, passion in it, because I'm like, are you serious? Like, what's wrong with this guy? And the crazy part is I've read these stories yesterday and the day before, and it still shocked me today. Stargazer Kawaii says, why do the gender discrimination crimes have a longer statute of limitations than the sex crimes? It was an extension through New York, and I believe California also has one, basically giving the adults, I guess it's adults, giving people an opportunity to come forward on their stories that didn't come forward before, especially after the Me Too movement. Kimmy Locker says, I don't need to know the victims' identities to believe them. However, while I understand the safety and privacy factors, the concept of saying anonymous, even to the defendants, is a little strange to me, because there's no way that they would be able to defend against themselves. Like, I've never seen you a day in my life. I don't even know who you are. You were never invited to our party. Actually, you used to stalk me, you weirdo. So yeah, I think they will have to disclose their identities to the defendants. I think that the fact that they are being anonymous, Diddy is going to try to use that to his advantage and saying, of course, these are fake stories, because they won't even tell the world who they are. They won't even tell me who they are, right? Like I said, with all the stories, everything that's coming out about him, it sounds like his MO. And I think that the stories have enough detail in them to not be made up. So I'm right there with you, Kimmy. Stargazer Kawaii says, they need to stop bluffing and name names. You think so? Oh yeah, the celebrities, right? Yeah, naming the celebrities, let us know who they are. I want to know who they are. Why are we hiding? Why are we saving them? Okay. The Forgiven says, GHB and baby oil bottles. They did say that as well. That did come out as well. I don't know if I can't remember if I saw it in the news or not, so I'm not going to speak on that too much. Stargazer Kawaii says, Diddy is a sick man. Agreed. We've covered several Diddy lawsuits on this channel, but covering 10 in a row across various demographics? Oh yeah. I thought he was nasty before. I don't even have a word for him at this point. Stargazer Kawaii says, the poor child is blinded by fame and without parental supervision. That's what I was going to get into, but also what I have to step back and realize is I'm also not in the predicaments, the atmosphere that these people are in. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that this happens to young kids all the time, because they're being motivated by people that are in this kind of lifestyle, and they don't have anyone guiding them and telling them that those things are wrong. At that age, I would think that Diddy is weird. Like, why does Diddy want to hang out with me? You can go talk to my dad. Like, you're literally my dad's age. Like, why do you want to talk to me? But some people just don't have that guidance. And like you said, blinded by the fame as well. That happened with R. Kelly too. Stargazer Kawaii says, all of these adults around Diddy are sick and should have the same consequences as Diddy. And that's what they tried to do in the R. Kelly case. And I think they should hold him liable. I did see something come out that other people's names are being dropped, but I haven't looked into it deeper yet through the criminal case. Kimmy Locker says, there are no words for the kind of evil that hurts kids. And I don't see how you can be attracted to a child. Because any attraction to a child is going to be hurtful to them. And they're a child. How do you not see them as a child? But like I said, an inadequate person, how could he? He thinks that he can have whatever he wants. Stargazer Kawaii says they need to be suing everyone invited. I don't know about everyone invited involved. I was like, okay, yeah, everyone involved, yes. And I think they should be name dropping everyone involved instead of trying to protect these celebrities. Celebrity A and Celebrity B that was in there with the little girl. The people that assaulted the man, the 3 people that worked around and they were taking turns with some men who was passed out with Diddy. And all the other ones, everyone that participated should be charged and should be sued too, because these ones are civil lawsuits actually. Stargazer Kawaii says there's no way to be upbeat and happy around these stories. Yeah, I thought I was going to be able to do it and make it a little, less intense. It didn't work. AT1CVB401 says these lawyers need to learn how to construct clear and concise sentences. Yeah, no, I don't know who was writing this. I was so confused on it. I'm like, I know it's not me. Like, I know sometimes I stutter over sentences, but I'm like, no, these sentences don't make any sense at all. Stargazer Kawaii says, how do none of these crimes get reported? We heard even in the Macy's ones, he tried to report it at least to his supervisors and they did nothing. And the security guard also tried to report it to his supervisor and they did nothing. So there were men that came forward and reported it, no matter how shameful that would be for another man to take advantage of you, right? And dominate you in that way. They reported it and still nothing was done for them. That no one believed them. Kimmy Locker says to Stargazer Kawaii, some of them were reported, but seemingly nothing came from them. Yes, exactly. They did. They tried. Stargazer Kawaii says, finally, more than Diddy in a lawsuit. They need to name for the Macy's one. Yeah, they named. And I think also one of them named the hotel, the Marriott Hotel, the one where the 19-year-old girl. They did try to name some people there, but it's probably not going to stick too hard. AT1 says, you got this, breathe deep. I tried to get through it. Stargazer Kawaii says, starry-eyed children who know no better. It's so sad and sick, and they are getting away. He got away with it for years. Like this 13-year-old, that was a 2000 case. And then the 16-year-old was a 1998 case. Imagine how many other kids have been affected since then that haven't come forward yet. Stargazer Kawaii says this is happening outside in front of people's at the party. Yes. People are seeing this. AT1 says scum of the earth does not begin to describe Diddy. I don't even have words for it. I really don't. Miss Frosty says it is all for him to feel more powerful, for him to feel in control of everyone. It has to be a control thing. And I'm still going to go with he's inadequate. Never mind. I'll keep those words to myself. AT1 says to me, come on, it's not like he did not tell you he liked men. I mean, Puff Daddy says it all. I didn't know that was a thing, but I'm just saying for the jeweler, he probably was not expecting this man to grab him by the balls. Like, dude, I've been doing business with you for years, and now all of a sudden you grabbing me in the crotch? Like, I don't know. What are you, Donald Trump? Like, get out of here. Stargazer Kawaii says, Diddy is just sick. Yes, sick. For sure. Stargazer Kawaii says, I understand why they want to stay anonymous when Diddy is known for sabotaging and potentially murdering people. Yes, and apparently he was threatening everybody that he was going to kill him. So that's a problem. That is a problem. Stargazer Kawaii says, I hope you're going somewhere fun. I am going somewhere fun. I'm going to Puerto Rico, which I still need to pack for. And I still need to do some work so that a boss is prepared to cover a case for me tomorrow. So thank y'all all for joining me in the live stream. Like I said, will not be streaming tomorrow. This one will be up on the replay. If you missed any details or missed any part of the stream, feel free to go back and watch it again. We will be back with another live stream, some new cases coming in that a lot of people aren't really covering. So we're going to cover some cases. We'll probably have some shorter live streams. So make sure that you are getting there on time. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I know we're in the middle of the week this time, but I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and I will see y'all on the